Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our Sisters on Track Social Impact Campaign virtual panel. And this is our third virtual panel for the Sisters on Track Social Impact Campaign. My name is Erica Stanley Dotton. I am an impact producer for the Netflix original documentary, Sisters on Track. Sisters on Track is a coming-of-age story set in Brooklyn. It's about hope, sisterhood, and belonging as three young sisters race against all odds towards a brighter future. Sisters on Track, follows the three Sheppard sisters, Ty, Rainn, and Brooke, from the 2016 media storm that propels them into the national spotlight when all three are chosen to be the Sports Illustrated Kids of the Years into their final years of high school. The film offers a rare, intimate glimpse into the tight-knit Brooklyn family's journey to recover from trauma and tragedy, moving away from their life in a shelter. Guided by Coach Jean Bell and her Jeuness Track Club, who inspires them to beat the all odds, dream big, and aim for higher education, the girls are finding their voices as athletes and as young adults. But at the heart of the story is the bond between a family and a whole community of women, passing the baton of self-empowerment through track and field from generation to generation of hopeful girls. As part of every documentary, well, not every documentary, most documentaries have impact campaigns that accompany them. And the purpose of an impact campaign is to use the themes and some of the issues brought up in the documentary to really make change. And so our social impact campaign for Sisters on Track focuses on three main pillars, which are education, the importance of education, as quoted by Jean Bell in the film, the importance of athletics, especially in young women and young girls. And also today's panel, which we're going to be talking about, which is the importance of mentorship, what it means to be a mentor, what it means to have a mentor, and how coming into someone's life, whether it's a family member or a friend, helping you to be your best self. I mean, those are all the things that we all probably have benefited from, but also that we can give to other people. So without further ado, I'll introduce Cecilia Mejia, who is our other social impact campaign producer, and she's going to introduce our wonderful panel tonight.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Erica. As Erica had mentioned, mentorship is a huge part of our impact campaign. And I had the honor of sitting with our moderator when the film premiered at Tribeca Film Festival last June. Alicia Guevara is the Chief Executive Officer of Big Brothers Big Sisters, New York City. Ms. Guevara is an accomplished and proven leader in the nonprofit sector. She has 25 plus years experience of leading nonprofit organizations, developing talent, influencing public policy, designing evidence-based programs, driving businesses and growth strategies, and generating revenue through fundraising and earned income opportunities. She's a lot more than this, and I'm so excited for all of you to hear her and speak with this wonderful panel. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Alicia, because my dog is barking. So there you go.
Thank you so much, Cecilia. That was a mouthful. That was a lot. And as you were talking 25 years, I was like, whoa, I think it's even more. We keep adding on and on and on, but I'm excited to be here with you all and so proud to be able to do this work that I so love and that our panelists have really enjoyed from, and that is the power of mentorship. As Cecilia shared with you, my name is Alicia Guevara, and I'm the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City. And I'm incredibly excited to be hosting what I know will be a very, very wonderful program this evening, particularly as we honor National Mentoring Month, which happens every single January. And I'd like to begin by thanking our sponsor this evening, Colgate-Palmolive, for bringing us together in community to put a spotlight on the power of mentoring. In my role as CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters, I get to experience the power of mentoring every single day, seeing bigs and littles like Michelle and Moitree in action. But what's really clear to me is that mentoring is all around us. Everyone that I know in one way or another has benefited from mentors. And today, our panelists will be speaking about the impact of mentorship on them. This past summer, I had the pleasure of attending the premiere of this very special documentary that Erica just talked to us about, and it's called Sisters on Track, which you can watch live on stream through Netflix. And the documentary is a powerful and this beautiful coming of age story about the Sheppard sisters and their mother, who was relentless about making sure that her daughters were connected to the guidance and support offered by caring New Yorkers like Coach Jean Bell. And through their participation in Coach Jean's running club, Jeuness Track Club, what they received was consistent, caring, compassionate mentorship with high support, but with very, very high expectations. And I was moved and inspired, I mean, really moved to tears by the story of and the connection through mentorship that was made possible and featured in the film. I have to thank Corinne Vanderbosch, the director of the film, who really brought this story to life. But before we dive into the powerful conversation that we will have in just a few minutes on mentorship, I want to invite our panelists to introduce themselves. So if you could please share your name, your pronouns, and a little bit about an important mentor that you've had in your life. And I want to start with you, Coach Jean, and then I'll move us to Rainn and Moitree and then Michelle. Why don't we start with you, Coach Jean?
Hi, I'm Jean Bell. I'm the head coach of Jeuness Track Club of Brooklyn, New York. And I'm so happy to be here and taking part. I guess a mentor in my life was my track coach. When I ran for a club in Brooklyn called the Adams Track Club, and my coach was Fred Thompson, an attorney by trade, but a fierce coach of women in track and field. And he believed very strongly in the power of education and putting women in the forefront of track and field competitions. Now, his team dealt mainly with women over the age of 18 or young teenagers and women. And he had many Olympians and was himself an Olympic track coach. But he inspired me to go to law school and become an attorney. And he also inspired me to believe that I could start my own club with younger girls and give them the same mentorship that he gave to me.
Thank you, Coach Jean. He sounds like quite an impactful person. And then to see you paying that forward is just pretty special. So thank you for that and welcome. Rainn, let's go to you.
Hi, I'm Rainn Sheppard, and my pronouns are she, her. And you said to say something about a mentor that we have.
That's right.
Well, my mentors probably obviously Coach Jean and Coach Carol, and they're really important to me because, like, outside of track, they're really helpful, and they worry about my grades, and they are really helpful to other people on the team as well, and they encourage us to do things beside, like, not just track, focus on other things. So they're great mentors to everybody, not just me and my sisters, but like especially me and my sisters.
Especially you and your sisters, Rainn. There's no question about that. Thank you so much and welcome. Let's go to you, Moitree.
Hi, everyone. My name is Moitree Rahman. It's a pleasure to be on this panel. I also have the pleasure to be one of the mentors at Big Brothers and Big Sisters the past year, and being able to giving back to the community that I really believe in by helping nurture one of the littles of Big Brothers and Big Sisters. I'm also a proud member of the Colgate-Palmolive family. So I feel like these two institutions, which I really take a lot of pride in, have come together in this panel. In terms of one of my mentors, I want to mention two, because I've done one with two very different people. Have played a very important role in my professional career. These people had helped me look through my imperfections, embrace my imperfections, and really gain more confidence. Coming from a more underrepresented society, part of the society, I always had lack of confidence, but these two people have seen my potential and have always reminded me when I forgot or I had struggled with my confidence. They reminded me about my potential and what I have achieved and how far I have come, and which has always kept me focused on my goal. So, it's not just one person, but two very different people who have played a very important part in my professional career. And one of the things I really liked, one of them said is that the way we can, I was just saying, like, I don't know how to thank you for all of your guidance. And one of the things she said is that just give it forward. So that stayed with me. And, that was one of the motivation for me to participate in Big Brothers and Big Sisters program last year, because I really wanted to give back and help another person who was probably in my shoes that I was in 10, 12 years ago.
Thank you so much, Moitree. And you are indeed paying it forward through our organization. Thank you for participating as a mentor. And it's so true. I mean, our work really is focused on igniting the potential that's already there in each and every one of our young people. And speaking about a young person with great potential, Michelle, over to you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Rendon-Gill, and I go by she, her as well. And an important mentor that impacted me the most was my mentor, which is Yanetsi, considered to be my big sister in the program. And she helped me with striving, like going towards my goal. And sometimes it helps with shaping who I am and creating new values that today I go by.
Thank you for that, Michelle. It's such a powerful thing to know that you have someone in your corner rooting for you. And in so many ways, that really is what mentorship is. I want to thank you all so much for sharing. And I want to go back to the film for a minute. I'm not going to get off the film, Sisters on Track, for a second. And my question is to Coach Jean and to Rainn, and we'll start with Coach Jean. What was it like? What was it like to see your story unfold on the screen through the documentary?
Well, the documentary took a long period of time, several years, and then watching it culminate in the film and watching the story unfold was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking because everyone was seeing us in real life, what we do with the girls and the team. And I was nervous about what people would think about our little track family and if they would understand what I was trying to do with the girls out, not just on the track. Of course, we're there trying to win and trying to be the best athletes and the best team that we can be. But outside of track, we were trying to do so much more to help girls who come from the same neighborhood that I came from in Brooklyn. So it was nerve-wracking, but it was fun. And in the end, I'm hoping that people get a lot out of it.
Well, I sure got a lot out of it, and really saw that connection throughout and even outside of the track. Let's go to you, Rainn. What was it like to see yourself on the big screen?
It was kind of it was really hard to watch myself when I was like 10, like, I don't know, but I also could see that that there was a message there for other people to realize like that there's opportunities for everybody, no matter like where you came up from or who you are. But personally, it was like really kind of like,
Well, I want to stay on that subject for a minute, Rainn. Not the seeing yourself when you were 10, but back to the mentorship, right? So building on that, how has it impacted you to have a mentor in your life and one that has stayed with you for a period of time, for an extended period of time? You know, I'm interested in hearing about that. And look, how has your relationship, how is it different today than it was when you first started?
The first question was,
how has it impacted you to have a mentor in your life?
It's impacted me because it helps keep me on track. Well, obviously not, well, actually, yeah, on track, but like, I mean, like focus on things besides like maybe bad influences or things that won't help me in the future. It's also really comforting to know that there's always someone there for me. What was the second question?
And the second question is, how has your relationship changed? How is it different today than it was when you first started?
Now, because I'm older, there's other things that like when I was younger, there's less things that I need to be mentored on or like help with. Like it was just track, but now I have to focus on school, like colleges especially, or like just being a better person. Those are things that I can ask my mentors, Coach Jean and Coach Carol.
Yep, that's great, Rainn. And I would imagine that as the relationship and any mentoring relationship, as it deepens and you get to know one another, there's an openness that gets created, right? So thank you for that. Michelle, I want to go to you. I know that you're a member of the Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City Youth Council. Thank you so much, because the Youth Council informs us and guides our work through the lens and the voice of our young people. But I'm curious to know what prompted you to join the Youth Council, and what about this opportunity was attractive to you?
Well, it was mainly because of my mentor. She helped me with actually striving to have a voice in like the council, and mostly because it helped me with actually speaking up about issues that I see and how it might affect not only the people in the program, but also outside of the program and how we could help them.
Well, your voice is definitely heard and it is felt in our organization. So thank you for that. You know, at Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, we have a number of different programs through which we offer mentorship. We have our core and signature program, the community-based program where bigs and littles come together twice a month and explore their goals across the landscape of New York City. And even in this moment, we're finding ways to do that safely. We have a workplace mentoring program where we partner with over 70 corporations across New York City and match professional mentors with high school students filled with potential and focused on getting ready for what's next after high school. And we have our college and career success program. It's our newest program where we started it to ensure that young people would feel supported as they're transitioning from high school into college, that once they arrive, they're supported to get acclimated to college, and that as they're looking with an eye towards graduation, we're also supporting their career readiness. And to do so, we rely on caring, committed New Yorkers, our bigs, our mentors. And so Moitree, you recently had the opportunity to participate in this program through the partnership that we have with Tech Bay. And I know that the impact that you and your colleagues had on our young people was powerful and profound. And I'd love to know what prompted you to participate in the Tech Bay Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and how important do you think mentoring is to prepare our youth for the future?
Yeah, it was a very fulfilling experience, to be honest, Alicia, to participate in this program. And some of you who don't know about the Tech Bay program, is actually essentially a community of professionals who are in the ad tech industry, in the advertising technology industry. And it was founded by like 6 very driven and inspiring female leaders in the industry. And one of their motivations was to democratize the knowledge, create meaningful networking opportunities for rising career young professionals, and even mid-career professionals as well. And that's how I became a part of Tech Bay program. And then there's opportunity came up, this partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters last year. And when one of the founders from Tech Bay program reached out to me, Seema, and she said, like, we are doing a partnership with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Would you be willing to participate and work with them one-on-one mentoring for 6 to 7 months, and helping a sophomore to prepare them for their career. And I took that opportunity right away, because that's something that was missing when I was at that stage, right? Like 15, 16 years ago, fresh out of college. I wish someone had known, like someone had told me how to prepare myself as I was entering the career for, the workforce. there are so many unknowns that the young professionals don't know, or the fresh graduates may not know. Our business schools or schools don't necessarily touch upon some of the soft skills or intangibles that school. It's to a large degree focused on building your technical skills or hard skills. So this mentorship really shows them like how can you be better at like networking, at organizing, at presenting yourself, creating or doing networking, interview skills. All of these things which are super important as you step into your professional world. And that's something that I was thinking. I always wanted to help someone at that stage, and this was a great opportunity to do this. I talk a lot about like minority students or underrepresented students who don't necessarily always see people like them maybe represented in tech industry, right? So, and I'm actually a very introvert person. One of the reasons I've always pushed myself out of the boundary, because I wanted to inspire others, people who look like me, right? That they are represented here. They can also make a mark in this field as well. So, all of these reasons, I always had that in my head, and this was a perfect opportunity. So when it came up last year, I said, absolutely, I take it and, help someone find their voice in this industry and help them identify the right opportunities for them.
Moitree, your point is so well taken, because oftentimes we show up with the skill sets, but it's the soft skills that build the confidence to truly show up authentically in the space, and particularly in the workspace, and to see yourself represented through the success of others, to see professionals who look like you, who have the same cultural norms, who have the same identities, is incredibly powerful. If you can see it, then you can be it. And so thank you so much for that, and for sharing what drove you to partner with us. I want to go to you, Coach Jean, because in addition to the support and the guidance and the mentorship that you've offered for professional success, I know firsthand that mentorship also offers life lessons to support young people in navigating the challenges that life puts before us. And so as a coach and as a mentor, what were some of the life lessons that you offered to the Sheppard sisters and to other athletes that you've coached?
Well, to the Sheppard sisters and all of the girls on the team, we try to teach them the importance of responsibility. Even starting when they're 6 or 7 years old, you have to be responsible for finishing your homework before you come to practice, having your things ready to bring to practice or wear to practice. And as they get older, being responsible for studying and doing well in school, and just being responsible for yourself. A lot of children depend on their parents for everything, and we try to take them away from that, being self-reliant, and teaching them about the importance of education and how that will impact the rest of your life. And that starts early. You can't wait until you're in high school before you start taking your work seriously and start thinking about what you want to do with your life. I tell the girls all the time, you're not going to be a kid forever. You're not going to be in high school forever. There's going to come a point where you graduate and hopefully go on to college. That's the goal of the team, to help you get an athletic scholarship so you can go to college, and start them thinking about what they want to be, and working hard to get there, and not just thinking off the top of your head, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this or that, but understanding what it takes to get there, what steps you have to take, what courses you have to take, and working hard to do that. So we stress very much being responsible, getting a good education, and being self-reliant. And that builds strong young women.
Absolutely. And I think what you point to too, and said so well, is that investing in mentorship doesn't mean investing in one particular area of a young person's life, but really seeing them for who they are holistically and comprehensively, and really beginning to help them explore all facets of their lives and what it takes to get from point A to point B, which is a lot of hard work. There's no question. You know, at Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, we believe that mentorship creates access to opportunities, access for exploring opportunities, and especially for young women in male-dominated industries. And so, Moitree, you touched upon this, and you know, I really think that in life and in the world of work, mentorship is especially important for young women and young women of color. And so I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about how you think mentorship is creating access in particular in male-dominated fields, but I would say more generally in the world of professional work, and making a difference. How does mentorship make a difference? Certainly how you experienced it through your participation in the program.
Yeah, that's a great question. When the benefit of having someone who is also already in the professional field and some of the so-called like male-dominated industries, it's funny that the term, the reason I said it's the so-called is because oftentimes we see these companies representing or showing up maybe the higher ups who are more like male, but I also see a lot of female leaders who may be working behind the scene. So yes, it may seem like really male dominated, but maybe for the lack of opportunities, the females are not being seen. But to answer your question is that in these industries, like how does mentorship help to get like young professionals access? Is that we're a very tight-knit community, and the world is so small, right? So we all kind of know each other. So when your mentors can actually introduce the littles or the mentees to someone within their network, and help open a new path for them. For example, when I was a part of this program last year, my mentee, she had a very specific career choice that she thought she'd do, she wanted to explore. And what I told her is like, that's great, and I will give you all the necessary advice, suggestions, how you can break through in this career. But I also want you to meet with a few other people who are not necessarily in that specific profession, but in related profession. For example, they're probably not working in research, they're working in e-commerce, they're working in PR, in other fields, to help to ignite a new interest in them. Oftentimes we think we know what we want to do, but as you explore other areas and somehow your passion clicks with your profession, and I think that's where magic happens, right? So towards the end of the program, Alicia, I was very excited to see that my mentee, she explored a new area. So she did. I always encourage my people who I mentor is that always have diversify, right? Diversify your experience, have different options in hand, and don't get just stuck to only one option that you think might work, right? Because we always have to pivot, right? Have a contingency plan. So what I was going with the story at Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and my experience there is that towards the end of the program, I mentioned she actually had another option open for her. She was saying like, maybe PR could be a good career choice for me, right? So that's very different from where she started. And she thought like, and oftentimes we hear a lot about certain professions in the field, and we think, okay, that's probably the next big thing, and I have to get in there. But you never know, like you probably have very different passion, right? So mentors help in that way, right? Help you identify your passion points, help you see through, your potentials. So that's how I feel like we try our best to make a difference, in the mentees' lives.
I think trying it in a way that's safe and in a way that allows the mentee to really explore, and I think in particular about the young people that we serve at Big Brothers Big Sisters of New York City, who often have preconceived ideas around what options are available to them, and that through this relationship they're able to explore so much more beyond that is incredibly powerful. I mean, you also talk about how mentorship almost moves into the space of sponsorship of a young person. And what's powerful is the social access that you create when you vouch for your mentee and increase their networks and their access through your own. So absolutely. I also, from my perspective, I think the line between coaching and mentoring can often be blurred. And oftentimes that's precisely what mentors are, right? They're coaches in your life. And so Coach, if you, Coach Jean, I'm curious to know, did you ever think that as a coach, you'd also be signing up for mentorship? And what's the best part about being a coach and a mentor?
I mean, when I started the team about 36 years ago, because I just love to run and I love to see other girls love to run. And I never thought that by being a coach, I would also be a mentor, but that just evolved over time as I got older and the girls got younger. And I saw that there was a need. But the best part of it is seeing girls that join the team when they're 6 or 7 years old, grow up on the team, go to college, and then come back and tell me that those were the best years of their lives. And they learn so much, and they graduate from college, they get married, they get jobs, they have children of their own, and then sometimes bring the children to run for me. So it's great to see them grow into successful women. And it just seems to happen overnight sometimes. They'll start out as an awkward 7-year-old, and then, they grow into these women who have lives of their own and sometimes come back to help me coach. So I have several coaches who used to run for me, and that's just great. But even if you don't, I just want you to be successful and have a good life. And that's the goal of running on my team.
That sounds like really strong coaching to me, and a real testament of what's possible. I want to go back to our mentees, and I want to start with you, Michelle, because again, I can't thank you enough for your participation on the Youth Council, because look, this is the group that offers us valuable feedback, keeps me honest and our staff honest around how to continue to best serve our young people, and how their leadership can truly create an impactful experience for future littles in our program. And so for you, Michelle, I have to believe that participating on the Youth Council gives you a sense of and an opportunity to pay that forward, right? To pay it forward to future littles, to future matches, through your work. And, often we'll engage with formal littles who have grown up and, Coach Jean, like you pointed out, have gone out to the world and want to give back to the next generation. And so I want to ask you, and this question is for Michelle, and then I'm going to go to Rainn, but how has having a mentor in your life strengthened your perspective and your commitment to give back or to pay it forward?
It has impacted me a lot to actually want to give back, because in a way, the way she mentors always is leaving like a residue or like something that has a lasting impact on me. I feel that way. And so because of that, I think I wanted to volunteer more into my school because it's also based on an all-girls school. So it's mostly empowering each other. So because of my mentor, I was able to volunteer within younger grades in my school to help them get better grades and also to communicate better with the teachers.
That's powerful. I often hear from littles who say they joined our program because it was a friend in school who also participated in the program, and they wanted a little bit of that. So thank you so much, Michelle, for paying it forward in that way. Rainn, over to you. How has having a mentor in your life impacted you to pay it forward, right? To continue to give back?
Having a mentor in my life helps me realize that mentors are important in everybody's lives to be able to do what they want and be comfortable in themselves, to help better their confidence, to be just better people in their sports and school and their lives. So I realized that because people have mentors, I should also give back. So I try to be there for my teammates, not really as a mentor, but I guess you could say as a friend to encourage them, kind of in the way that Coach Jean will try to encourage them. That's it.
Do you see yourself coaching someday too?
Yeah. But only when I'm old.
Right.
And I'm with life.
Right. Of course. Only then. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Rainn. Look, I want to hear, just as we look to wrap up things, I want to hear from each of you about one favorite memory of a time that you spent either with your mentor or with your mentee. And we can start, let's see, why don't we start with you, Moitree? Let's go to you. A favorite time that you've spent with your mentor or your mentee?
Yeah, sure. One memory that really sticks to me, and now I'm laughing, but it was very scary at that moment, is that, my mentor, she also used to be my manager in one of my first jobs, and she's the one who really instilled a lot of confidence in me. And it was one of those big presentations, and I probably started this company 2 or 3 months in, but she knew I can do a presentation in front of a very big group, and she just pushed me, and she said just go for it. She knew that I thrive in pressure. I didn't know, but she saw that in me, right? She pushed me, just go ahead, just go in front of everybody and just present what your findings, you'll be just fine. I mean, I was shaking and I was scared to death, to talk and speak in front of so many people. It was just many years ago. I was young and, I was not that confident back that time. But that actually opened up so many opportunities for me later on, people coming to me, they said, I want to work with you on this different projects. And it really just boosted my confidence in ways I didn't imagine. And had she not pushed me to take that opportunity, I would have been here where I am today. So, it was intimidating back then, but I laugh now thinking about it.
Wonderful. How about you, Coach Jean? Favorite memory with either your mentor or with your mentee?
Well, I would have to say, I've had a lot of girls on the team, but one of my favorite memories is last year, Rainn came to stay with me for several months in order to increase her distance running and train harder, train twice a day. So she would train in the morning, she would run in the morning, and then she was online for school. I would go to work and I would come home and we would go to practice in the evenings with the rest of the team. And then we would come home, make dinner together, and we would sit and talk. And it gave us a lot of one-on-one time where we really bonded and came to know each other better. And it was fun. It was It was very intense, but it was great because I didn't normally get to have that much time to speak, just to have conversations with her. So we would have conversations about everything and anything on the news or about track or just about life. And it was really good. It was a special time for me.
That's wonderful. And on that note, let's go to you, Rainn. Special memory, favorite memory with your mentor.
Oh, that's so nice, Coach Jean. Okay. My favorite memory. There's a lot, but one that came to mind when you asked the question was because we used to have, well, I'm pretty sure we're gonna continue having something called the Christmas party or something like that. So there was one time that I came, well, obviously because it was like for little kids. So I would participate in the Christmas party, but then as I grew older, I couldn't like be in Christmas party. So Coach Jean asked if I can, well, actually I asked her if I could help like the little kids, like make the cookies, because that's what it was. They made cookies. And it was really clearly very memorable. It was funny and it was just fun. And I ate cookies. So yeah, I guess I was like, huh?
Yummy.
Yeah, they were good.
Great. Thank you, Rainn. Over to you, Michelle. Favorite memory with your mentors?
By far, my favorite memory with my mentor was ice skating for the first time with her. And it was such a vulnerable moment with actually trusting her. It was the first time actually having an experience where I had to trust someone else to like make sure it didn't fall. And especially it helped with getting more trust of her and like reassurance that whatever happens, it's not going to be that serious. And in a way, it also gave me more confidence.
You know, this idea of confidence building, thank you, Michelle, for that, because this idea of confidence building is a common thread that I think naturally comes out of the relationship and mentorship. I often say that whatever questions I put out, I'm more than glad to address myself. And so this one I'm going to take, because just this morning, I met over Zoom call with my former high school principal. And it's been a long time, Michelle and Rainn, since I was in high school, let me tell you. It's been a very long time. And we got to talking about a particular teacher that I had who impacted my life as a mentor in some pretty powerful ways. And three ways in particular come to mind. I remember walking into her class one day and she taught me American government and history, and was not prepared and walked in all nonchalant, expecting that this was okay. And she pulled my coat when that class was over and said, let me be very clear with you. Participating in my class requires these levels of expectations. And if this isn't something that you can do, there are other choices that you can make in this school. But being in my class and just sifting through it is not going to work. That was a sobering moment. Well, months after that, she ended up being my coach on the mock trial team. And I think to this day is still a little disappointed that I'm not an attorney, but I bet she is proud of the work that I do nevertheless. But I think the last memory that I have of her was the day that I got my acceptance letter into the college that I attended. And she looked at me, and before I even had the letter, because she already sort of knew, she approached to me and said, congratulations, you got it. And I said, what are you talking about? And so she, shared with me the news. And then she looked at me and she said, Alicia, I knew you had it in you the whole time. And having someone who believes in you and that is in your corner, right? Moitree, through what you've offered, Coach Jean, through what you've offered, Michelle and Rainn, is precisely what this work is about. It's about creating relationships that continue to ignite potential in all of us. And so with that, I want to thank each and every one of our panelists. Thank you so much for your participation tonight. Thank you for this wonderful conversation. Many thanks to our audience who joined us. It truly is a joy to chat with you and celebrate National Mentoring Month in this particular way. And so with that, I thank you all and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Oh, great. And we have, here is how to get involved. We can never have enough mentors. And so I encourage you all, if you're interested in mentorship, please visit our website at www.bigs.org. Fill out our volunteer application. Reach out to Aaron Frager, whose email is here, with any questions that you might have, and they will lead you through this process. And become a corporate partner, like our sponsor this evening, Colgate-Palmolive, who's deeply interested in working with us. We welcome the corporate community. We welcome New Yorkers who are committed to mentoring and igniting potential in young people.
Every day has something to do with the next day. You got to work for your dreams.
Hi, my name is Joyce. I'm 23 years old, and I belong to the Big Brothers Big Sisters community. How did I hear about this program? Well, I was 10 years old, and my father enrolled my sister and I into the program as littles. So I was 10 years old.
Can we get the video back up?